Hello, everybody. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I had my camera all the way on the another area of the table. Um, and let me make sure that I get it properly focused. Because unfortunately, until it starts, I cannot do anything about focusing it. Um, what I wanted to say, I will make a short video later about the other bowl on Facebook, because there was so much stuff to do, I didn't get around to do it. So it should be somewhere here. There we go. Okay. Hi, Joan. Hi, Cherry. So I forgot my. Just a second. Gosh, I thought I got everything. And I was so proud of myself for being sure that I had brought everything here. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Elaine. Hi, Gayleen. The thing is that I've been trying to secure everything that's outside properly, because if you're watching the news, we are expecting some really nasty weather tomorrow. So, yeah, it's not gonna be pretty. I just hope it doesn't go to a PDS weather, particularly dangerous situation, because that's like F4, F5 tornadoes. So, hi, Anna. Hi, Mary. What I wanted to tell you before I start talking about weather, if you are, especially if you are, I mean, if you're in Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and especially if you are in the Oklahoma and the Texas panhandles, hi, Ellen, be particularly aware tomorrow. The thing is, what I fully recommend you, there's the best weather app right now is made by a guy named Aaron Tuttle. And he used to be the weatherman of one of the local TV channels. And then he wasn't happy with all the requirements and all the, inside stuff. And trying to find his blog. And now he works for FAA, and he started his own Facebook and YouTube, and he does live coverage of severe weather. And he has a Facebook, and he also has a YouTube. And let me get you his YouTube. And he has this weather app that is the best weather app that can be saved many, many, many lives. And it is free. And this is his channel. It is a free weather app, and it can predict tornadoes 10-15 minutes in advance, which is something, Hi, Sonia. So if you never heard of it and you want to be weather aware, I suggest that you download it. Even if you have a Fire, just download first Google Play, and then you'll be able to download it even on a Fire tablet. But as I said, I know that he has already scheduled, he's going to go on a live broadcast. If you look on his channel, he always goes on live broadcast whenever there's severe weather, and he covers it. And what I love the most about him is that he's not hyping, you know, and if you have any kind of weather anxiety, you want to watch him because he's going to tell you without hyping, without making people panic, without, because he's not looking for ratings like the guys on TV. Anyway, so and the only thing that I did on this bowl, and no, I'm not getting anything by talking about Aaron Tuttle. It's just I'm trying to help people, you know, who are in a danger zone. So what I did extra from last time, I only inserted this white. What the heck? Yeah. Guess what I did? I inserted the white and I didn't make it. Let me grab the other one. Ah, I am something else. Sorry, but I told you when I have to multitask, my brain stops functioning. Okay, hi Dor. So let's do first this one while the other one bakes. As you can see, I inserted a little bit of black because this was the one that I did with the snakes that I made out of all the cane remnants from the other one. Yeah, I mean, if you're not in that area, it's fine, you know, but there are so many people in that area that it's a good idea to be weather aware and be ready to go to shelter. Okay, let's make a little bit more light. There we go. So I am first going to use a 120. And this is also going to be both showing how to sand, generally speaking, and also how to use the wand in order to, because I showed you what kind of briefly with the last tutorial with the patriotic earrings, but how to use this and how absolutely awesome this sanding wand, pedicure wand is to do practically perfect stuff. So first I'm going to use a grit as low as 120, as weird that this might sound, but that is for shaping. And and while I'm doing it, I'm going to also answer a few questions. One of the questions that I got was, can't I just use the sanding discs on my, get an adapter for my Dremel and just use the sanding discs with my Dremel, with my flex shaft, instead of buying the sanding wand? Uh, you can, but only if you have an absolutely super steady hand, because when I first presented this, when I first got it, and I tried it to see how it would work for sanding, I said then what were my criteria for what I was looking for. Because when you sand, polymer clay is very soft. It's a plastic. So if you use something that has a very high rotation, chances are that, and a fraction of a millimeter is enough, that you won't be able to hold this perfectly immobile or to move it exactly how it needs to be moved, and you're going to gouge your piece. A Dremel rotates at least 3000 RPMs. This thing, I think it rotates maybe 250, maybe. So the risk of gouging your clay just because your hand went a little bit left or right are very, very, very slim. And that is why I do not advise to use, even with an adapter, to use sanding kits on a Dremel because it rotates too fast. You want a fast rotation when you're doing uh, buffing. Yes, for buffing you want over 5,000 RPMs for a good buffing, but not for sanding. And you can see that with this, I am practically sanding away the not just the top layer, but I am shaping the bowl. So no matter how, when I made it, remember I told you when I started making it, I told you don't worry about putting these things perfectly even. Don't bother with that because it will not take long to fix it with sanding. And yes, you can do this by hand as well without a problem if your hands work well. But remember, I was happy about finding this pedicure one because my hands are not very good. Um, Hi, Fran. Then I had another question. Can you do mica shift without shaving? Yes. And actually, at the very beginning, in the late 80s, beginning 1990s, when the mica shift was first found as an effect, um, you have to think that we did not have all the beautiful and blades that we have now. Mostly we were using tissue blades if we could get by them. So the very first mica shift and honestly the very first stamped mokumegane were done with sanding. So yes, you can get mica shift simply by sanding. And to give you a little tip, when you do mica shift, you want when you sand that piece, you want to actually go in first with like a 400 grit and sand off the very top layer. Of course, I'm talking about something like 1/10 of a millimeter. Hi, Kelly. Um, and why is that? Because remember that the mica shift appears because of the shifting of those mica particles. Because the mica particles are pretty much like itsy bitsy two-sided mirrors, microscopic two-sided mirrors, and depending how they are oriented in the translucent clay, they will give a sheen if you see them on the side, or they will look dull if you see them on the shiny side, or they will look dull if you see them through transversal. But no matter how good of a blade you have, no matter how good you are at shaving, when you are shaving, there would still be a little bit of uh, changing those top particles a little bit like this. So if you go in and you shave, as I said, you only need like 1/10 of a millimeter, so a 400 grit should be just perfect. And if you go in and you shave only that, your mica shift will be 10 times more spectacular than if you don't do that, because at that point you will reach the underneath layers that have not been affected by the blade. So here I gave you a good tip about mica shift. I'm trying to remember if I closed my window. I was looking to give you the link for Aaron's YouTube channel, and I closed the other window where I had the questions. Yeah, I got you have asked me when I'm going to post the Fimo leather thing. Very, very soon. I'm actually I finished designing the piece that I want to make. This one is 120, and I'm actually thinking of maybe going to get an 80 so it would go faster. Because when you're doing the shaping, you can go fairly low, you know. And then the subsequent grits, what you do practically is to remove the scratches from the lower grits. That's what sanding is. Because practically until you get to like 1200, you still keep removing clay. But from 1200 on, you remove such a thin layer that it's not noticeable. And practically, that's what you do. As you go higher in grit, what you do is removing the scratches from the previous lower grit. Yeah, I think I want an 80 because I want to get through this more and it takes much less time. Give me just a second, let me go grab an 80. Playing with you. Okay, I took the opportunity and went ahead and took my pill as well. All right. Hi, Dee. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Chris. The line. Just uh, cut the very edge. That's the only way. Cut the very edge and then smooth together a little bit. Once I'm done with this, I'll show you. See, this one eats a little bit deeper. And I'm going to the colors underneath. And no worries, I got a second one if this one gets a bit too hot. It does get hot, I mean warm, like a polyfast, only that it takes way longer for it to do that. and then it cools off really, really fast. In about 5 minutes, it's ready to go again. And this one will look exactly like modern ceramics. And of course, you can do it with any other colors. I think that it would look very... Yes, and there's an article also on my website. If you go look, it's right on the homepage. And it gives you all the details, where you can find it, even if you're not in the US, where I found the best prices, and where to get the uh, this. If you'll notice in my Amazon influencer store, there are two kits. Now, let me click to allow this. Yeah, and that's why I said with these bowls, I did post them on in the influencer store mostly to show you what to look for. But if you go to a dollar store or to a big lot, you find them way cheaper than on Amazon. I mean, not way cheaper. As I said, I think I paid like $3 something for a set of four. They were less than $1 a piece. On Amazon, they are not very expensive either. But yeah, you want, as I said, you want to go read the article on my website after this is over, because I give links also good for other countries, for I think for France, for Germany. And unfortunately, I searched, me and Trish searched, but we couldn't find any supplier that would provide a good price, a good enough price for Trish to be able to bring them and sell them in her store. I mean, it was just non-feasible. The prices they asked were pretty much the same prices as Amazon is selling them. It did raise in price by about $4, I think, from the time I discovered them. If you find any other one cheaper, go ahead and get it. But when it comes to the uh, disc sets, make sure, number one, make sure that they are 2 inches. Number two, make sure that they are wet, not just dry. And also make sure that they have the pad, the sponge pad, because that allows you to go on curved surfaces, not just on straight ones. And by what I could see, compared to the polyfast, the Velcro part on the pad holds just beautifully. And you just glue that pad on the pad of the standing one, then you're good to go. I use that 2 parts Loctite thing, and it works great. So I'm almost done with the shaping and getting to the underneath. Of course, you can go as much as you want. I'm not going to go too much because I want this special look with half hidden, if you want. But as you can see, and you saw in the patriotic rings, that it allows you to not have to worry about the edges or about anything else. It takes only a few minutes to make perfect edges and perfect surfaces to your pieces and make them look all pretty and professional. I think I'm good. And when do you know that your thing is perfectly smooth? When it's not smooth, you'll see this dust accumulating in lines because that's a depression there, obviously. And when you see the dust going just all over the place, that means that you're good to go. And I'm going to do a nice rounding here. And because it's got that sponge pad, you can go beautifully around on round pieces for the cabochons, to shape a 4 gemstone cabochon. If you want a handmade design shape. Okay, let's switch to 120. Hi, Cecile. That's okay. So what we are doing now is we start removing the scratches. Even if I'm using a 240, no, it's a 180, sorry, I forgot, this is a 180. And remember, until you get to about 1,000, it will still remove clay. So you kind of want to consider how much you want to remove with the lower grits, because if you go too harsh, when you go with the higher grit, it will still remove some clay. So you might get your piece too thin. As you can see, it still removes quite a bit. But now I started getting rid of the scratches because, trust me, the 80 leaves quite a bit of deep scratching. You see, I still have here a little bit of a depression, but. And if you have depressions, you just fill in with the, you mix a little bit of clay, or black clay, or whatever other color you've used. Terrified? I'm not terrified. I actually used to like sanding. I love buffing because that's when the whole beauty of the piece comes out. The problem is that with my hands, I had really big issues because my hands would get tired. I wouldn't be able to hold something properly. So once I found this, it was, a heaven sent, a game changer for me. And I know other ladies I talk to, I know the messages that I keep getting with, blessings to you, day. It's so much easier for me to stand now with my arthritis hands. So it's so easy. I was talking yesterday to a friend and she was like, yeah, now I'm scheduling days for sanding because it's so relaxing with this wand. Yeah, you need to, because things look so much nicer when they are sanded and buffed. I honestly, a lot of people ask me, what varnishes do you use? And I always say, unless I need to seal something, I will always prefer sanding and buffing to any kind of varnish. And that's one of the answers that always frustrates people, because I would get asked, what kind of varnish do you use the most? And my answer is always, well, what are you trying to do? Because it depends. Some varnishes work better for certain things, some varnishes work better for other things. But generally speaking, my go-to varnish, everyday varnish, is either the water-based shellac, minwax, or shellac. And I made a tutorial on how to make your own shellac varnish, which is super, super shiny. The round and the bottom. Okay, now we go to 400. And once you get the shape, everything goes so much faster. When you get to the, and now that I got to 400, that's when I'm going to make a little bevel at the lip of the bowl. And again, it's something that otherwise you'd have to spend quite a bit of time to make sure that you do it when you do it with the raw clay. Yeah, you cannot trash, especially by hand. There's no way you can trash your work. Because you see what you're doing, and you can go very slow. Okay, and I said I'm going to make a bevel. Now see, I have all this straight line here. Going to just simply hold my wand at an angle. And my bevel will be nice and even and beautiful. The switch between 240 and 400 is very noticeable. Yeah, I'm going a second time to enhance the bevel a little bit. And there we go. Now I can go higher. But before I go higher, let's take a look at it. Without dust on it or anything. There we go. It looks very ceramic-y, very modern. And yes, I'm going to remove the glass bowl and leave only the polymer clay. Hi, Savvy and Sassy. That's a cute name. Okay, 600. And a good idea is to first wet the sandpaper when it's brand new, or even when it's not brand new, but it's not, but it's dry. And another thing, yes, when you sand, you push a little bit, but when you buff, no. The worst mistake when buffing Hi, Christy. The worst mistake when buffing is to press the buffing wheel on the piece. You need to barely touch the piece with your buffing wheel because you're not trying to remove any kind of scratches. You're only trying to shine something. If you press, you might even get one of those little threads to even gouge the clay. So you want that butterfly kiss touch. But yes, when you're sanding, you can push a little bit. Not a lot because you're gonna ruin your sanding wand. If you're doing it by hand, well, you can push as hard as your hand would allow you to. And I'm not going to go with the bezel with the 600 because I do not want to remove too much clay. I'm going to go only with the 800. So switching to 800. Oh, come on. I got a lot of stuff in my. So as I said, at this point, you're only removing scratches. And I'm only going to go with the 800 and then go check on that other one, take it out of the oven to cool off a little bit because being on glass, I cannot put it under water to cool off because the glass would break, obviously. And you see, it's not hard at all. And now let me go with the bezel. And what I love the most is, especially when I make 4 gemstones, is that it's so much like shaping real gemstone cabochon. It satisfies something inside because I cannot do that anymore. And I used to love doing that. But, okay, let me go check on the other bowl. Oh, yes, before I go forward, let me tell you something because it's like a caveat if you're using this. My eye doctor, out on a whim, I have no idea why, but he thought of checking my medication list, and I found an email from him saying that the culprit for my cataracts, that yeah, the shots I get in my cervical spine could have contributed, but the most likely culprit for my cataracts is Drum roll. Flonase. He said that he has seen an increase in elderly patients using nasal sprays with steroids like Nasonex and Flonase. So yeah, that's going to be hard because I've been using Flonase for years and years. Before that, I used Nasonex because when I get allergies, and amazingly, I have an allergy to cold, if you've ever heard that. Those little nasal openings from the sinuses swell shut, and I get the worst facial sinus infections ever. And they are so painful. All my teeth hurt, including the teeth I don't have anymore. So it's going to be really bad to go without Flonase. Okay, I'm gonna see how good we are at this point with the shiny. Oh yeah, but remember I still have to wait for a few more months for the left one to go, because the left one has issues as well. It has a beginning of cataracts, not as bad as the right, but still it's there. Okay, let me grab the buffer. If I never said, if you see me for the first time using the buffer, it is a Dremel to which there's attached a flex shaft, and I am using these mini buffing wheels that are made out of wool, not cotton. They are not a fine muslin, and you can find them both at PolyClay Play and in my Amazon influencer store. As for the flex shaft, it is advisable to never bend more than 45 degrees because it's going to get hot. Unfortunately, in this position, it's very hard for me not to bend it. So I'm going to try and work around that and work really fast. Now, this is going to be noisy, not like the wand. It's not going to be very shiny because I only went to 1,000. But it's going to still give it a ceramic look. And of course you can put varnish on it if you so want. I can tell you about that liquid clay gives more of a feeling of ceramic than regular varnish or the big shine. I don't know why, it's just a general feeling of it. And never go like this because you might gouge with the little screw there. You always want to go at an angle. And now, let me do the earth. almost there. Okay, and now with a lot of care and attention, let's remove it before we go through to the other one. Okay, I managed to mess up my. Ugh. Just a second. I got too many cables here. I really need to get a wireless headphone for this. So what I usually use for the bowls is a paring knife. It is a little bit of a special knife. I have it from the Miracle Blade set. I'm not trying to sell it, but it's the best set of knives I've ever had. And I've had it for like 20 years and it's still the same. And you can still buy it for 25 bucks, the same as 15 years ago. But it's very, very thin and pointy. So it's very easy to insert. So first I'm going to go very little, only like a couple millimeters. To get the, and yes, you might cut a little bit because there might be areas where your clay is a little bit over the lip. Go ahead. You can catch up when you come back. Kitties. And then once I went once around, I can go a little bit deeper. And here you have to have patience because if you don't, you might crack your clay. You want to go real slow. Don't try to get too deep too fast. Okay, what's going on here? I might crack it here, yeah. See, when I put together the slices, but that's fine because you can fix it afterwards. Just with one more. Yeah, I'm going to crack the edge because I'm in a hurry. Remember, most of the time when I'm doing stuff on camera, it's not going to look the way that it looks when I'm doing the real thing because I cannot see very well what I'm doing. And I need to hold it at the right angle for the camera. Okay, this is going to break. It's not going to happen with the other one, but this one it might. There, I broke it. I said I was going to. That's the only problem with these bowls is that they have that lip that makes it harder to remove stuff. The best is to stop before the lip when you make the bowl, but I don't know why I want it to go all the way. And I did something here, I cannot remember what I did, and makes it so much harder to remove. And I don't want to break it all over. And that's my broken part. See how I'm going from spot to spot and I go deeper. And that's the thing with the paring knife, is a little bit flexible. So it will allow to bend a bit around the curve of the bowl without going through the clay. There we go. Yay. I'm gonna still have to fix this. I'll just put a very thin band of black, because there's a spot here where I messed up. But yeah, there we go. So this one can be as is without any problems. It is very slightly flexible, and you can make it thicker than this if you want it to be not flexible at all, but I like them to be about this width. So let's move to the other one. Get all the, because the other one will be more interesting. And it did go off enough. So we are going to go back 800, 600, 400 to 40, 120, 60. No, you don't have to. I just prefer to. I don't like to leave the bowls inside. Yeah. As I said, there's an article. Let me put the article. From time to time, I'm going to get the link to the article where you can find all the information about this. Okay. I did a video a while ago about it, but here's all the information. Okay, let's get back to shaping. Now, first of all, let's look at this. As you can see, I reinforced. That was the mistake I did with this one, that I went with something that came in slices. Generally speaking, you want to end with something that is a straight line, not with slices, because when removing it, they might break apart. And then if they do, when you remove the bowl, if they do, just place a little bit of bacon bond, put them together and put a little bit of masking tape and just put them back in the oven. And that will be just fine. So here, the main areas where I have to work on will be here. And this is why this is so good, because the main thing when you work with canes covering a bowl is to cut everything perfectly, slice everything perfectly, so it will cover the bowl evenly. But as you can see, I did cut the slices fairly equal, but of course it did not, because the moment you start trying to use your roller to even stuff up, your slices will get distorted. So I'm going to have to do this, and then I'm going to put a slight bevel here, because I don't want these to end up in at this angle here. See how there's an angle here. So let's go ahead and do it. I need to clean my thing here because there's dust that got in. When I got that dust on my hands, And I keep turning it on and off. Of course, it's going to get stuck at one point. It happened before. But it's fixable. Okay, so first let's start with the bottom. And I don't have to work too much on the bottom. And then gently shape this other bottom where I inserted the white. And you can feel if there's any difference in level. Oh yes, absolutely. Feel free. It's a public video and tutorial. Okay, so this area right above the base is all, I can feel it. Now let's move to the next area, because this one's got a little bit more deformities. So you can see how much clay it removes. And I'm not going to go all the way, because remember I told you that until you get to about 1,000, the sandpaper will keep removing the top layers of the clay. So I don't want to get my bowl to be too thin. So I'm not going to do it until I feel no. But this is how you know that you'll have the dust settling in lines. And when it still does that, you know that you didn't achieve perfect flatness yet. But I'm going first once all around to get a better shape, and then I come one more time until my line of dust starts widening. And then I can come on this side too and check if everything is okay, if I have any lines of dust settling. Good night, Cecile. Yeah, you can watch it. I'm sorry, this is kind of boring because you keep watching me doing the same thing over and over, but that's what I wanted to show you in real time, how you do this. And generally, when I show something in a live, you have to take into consideration that without camera, without having to explain and everything, it will take me about 1/3 of the time. And here I'm just going a little bit, shaping that lip a little closer to the bowl. Yeah, I did put it in the video info, didn't I? I wasn't sure if I did that or not. Because usually I complete the video info after the live is over. Now, the other spot where I want to straighten things up a little bit is right here. See how this is not perfectly equal all over? So I'm going to come and get it fairly flush with that black line. And any other unevenness you might have on the slices, this is when you want to fix that. And you see how once again the sanded, yes, in the article I give all the links to find it. And as I said, I got another one, a black one, and I posted the link to that one too because it was, at the time I wanted to order it, it was a little bit cheaper than the pink one. It feels slightly lighter than the pink one. So now I'm evening out all the way around. So I'm still on the 80. Remember, so I'm doing the brunt of the work with the 80. And I'm going to switch to the 120 now. And yeah, in one of those kits, there's a 180 as well that you can use for less. Yeah, the 80 and the 60 are the only ones that do this. You lose the thingy. But comparing the cost with the polyfast, it's okay. My hand's not working. My thumb is messing up. And yes, it has a little wheel here you can do the speed with. Okay, so remember that I need to remove some of the scratches of the 80, so I'm going to go first with the 120 all over the place. Because the 240 will not have enough power to remove the scratches of the 80. That's why it's not a standard, it's a pedicure one that I adapted for sanding. The whole thing, if you buy the pedicure one, then the sandpaper kit, it's like 40 bucks, 40, between 40 and 45 bucks. It comes down way cheaper than the Polyfast. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to tell you, because I got asked, and can you still use the one for your feet? Of course you can, just use it. The kits come with the 60 as well, just use the darn 60. Because you're going to remove the disc from there, so it's not going to touch your clay. Just use the lowest grit on your feet. Can still be used. But see, being a pedicure one, it's fairly water safe. So it comes with these discs for pedicure, but they are definitely too rough for polymer clay. Okay, I'm almost done, but see, I'm not going to go until I don't have any more lines of that, because remember, I still have to go with the 240 and with the 400. Right now, what I'm doing is removing the scratches from the 80, essentially. And then filling with my finger where there's still any kind of bumps, because of course I want to remove those bumps mostly with the lower grit because it goes faster. Okay, I have some bumpies here. There's a bump here. And of course it depends how bad you were at slicing the clay. The better you slice, the less work you'll have to do with the sanding. But even if you're super bad at slicing, that's fine. Use the sander and you'll do beautiful pieces. Very beautiful and very professional looking. Bonjour, Fabri. I have problems seeing those. Remember, I have problems seeing the screen even if I got a bigger monitor. And also because you're working with cane slices, it's fine to sand out of them some because the pattern is still there. So you don't have to worry about that. I have a little line here. And sanding it like this, trust me, it's going to take less than trying to fix it when the clay is raw, and it's way less frustrating, in my opinion. Okay, let's go with the 240. And see, I'm still working with it and it didn't get hot yet. Bonsoir, Lise. Just need to clean it up a bit. Okay, 240. So here I'm going to go again with a little bit of shaping. And here I can go for almost no dot lines. And I'll use the 400 for no dot lines whatsoever. And again, can you do this by hand? Absolutely. But depends on your hand. It would take me a day to do this by hand. And the other thing that I love about it is it's very light. It doesn't tire your hand. Yeah, usually you know very well that in a regular tutorial I speed up and I cut out so you don't get bored watching the same thing over and over. But I cannot speed up on a live. So I still have here a little spot. Now I can move here. And the moment you switch, that I'll do in a few minutes, the moment you switch from 240 to 400, you already can feel, I mean, already with the 240, I can feel it way smoother. But the moment you switch to 400, that's when you can feel the whole thing much better. And here I'm checking these. But of course, you can, it's a good idea to make a bowl like this once you get your sander, or if you already got your sander, and just spend a morning or an afternoon sanding your bowl to perfection, and you'll see how awesome it comes up. Absolutely fabulous. And yeah, you can do a little bit of a angle here without a problem. I'm still going to leave the lip being a little bit out. I just didn't want it to be super out like it was. And it would have been hard to do that because I would have had to cut the slices a little diagonally wedged. Okay, now let's go to 400. You feel old? Why? Boob tube. Boob tube, that's funny. I never heard of this TV being called boob tube. Okay, now once you get to 400, you want to kind of rinse a little bit because you have to think that the dust that's left over from the previous grit is the size of the previous grit. So if it gets caught in the finer grit that you're using, it will be like still using the previous grit. And to give you a tip, when your one has a tendency to do this, that means that there's a difference in level underneath. You saw how here it tended to go a little bit weird. Let me try and find a spot. When it starts wobbling, you see how it tries to wobble around instead of going smooth. There, right there, there was a difference in level. And you just keep doing it until it doesn't want to wobble on that spot anymore. Right here. Yeah, you kind of can feel it. I'm at the 400 and I'm going to just, because the 400 already feels very smooth. It's very easy to feel with your finger when you reach the perfect smoothness thing. And I do have a small spot here as well. And I want to go on the top of this line as well. Remember, look for the dust going in recesses. That's when you know that you need to work some more on that area. If it just spreads all over, it's fine. But whenever you see a line or a space between slices full of dust, of sanding dust, that's clear. You need to see. Here I have a spot. And here. See how the dust is in between the so all this area. Will it go faster or faster rotation? Yeah, but also the chances of you gouging the whole thing might be much higher. Now, if you're at a point where it seems to you that it takes too long, you can revert for that spot to the lowest grit for a minute and then come back to 400. Because of course you can reduce all this just with 400, only that's going to take a long time. And just because I don't want to go for another hour with the whole thing, I'm going to focus on one area of the bowl and do the finishing there and buff it so you can see how it looks when it's done. Because I already showed you how to remove the bowl itself. So let me just focus on this area completely. And yes, I'm going to make a small bezel here, a bevel. So I can finish it to the buffing step. Okay. What is the veneer? I messed up. So at this point, once you're getting pretty much at 800, 1000, that's when you need to make sure that what I usually do after an 800, I would do a first pre-buffing because some of the sanding mistakes will not show until you buff. So at that point, because I don't want to have to go all the way to the shiny, to the 2000 or 3000 and then buff it and see, oh my God, I need to go back. Usually at 800 or 1000, I would do a first uh, button so that I can see. Okay, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Oh, um, yeah, the thin layer of translucent is the best thing to do because then you can sand on top of it. The thing is that you need to, number one, make sure that it's thin enough. Even if you can sand it off. But also be very careful on trapping air. I don't usually put liquid clay because you cannot sand liquid clay. Putting liquid clay would be exactly like varnishing. But if I want to go to with buffing, yes, a lot of times the translucent layer is the answer to it. Okay, two more, and then I'm gonna buff. It does do a lot of good if you do that pre-buffing thing. So I'm at the 1200, and here I'm going to be a little bit more thorough. I'm not going on a bowl, I'm not going to go above a 1500 because you don't really need a glass-like gloss like you would need on a 4 gemstone or something else. Like you can even stop at 1000. Ceramic is not that super glossy. And also, as another tip, whenever you have a veneer um, or cane or whatever that's got a lot of beautiful detail and pattern, you don't want to make your piece super glossy. Why is that? Because the shine itself, that little area where the light reflects on, is going to hide your pattern. Oops. So you want to make it glossy, but not, mirror-like glossy. Well, I hope I did on the same spot all the time. Yeah, I can foresee that tomorrow I'm going to do a lot of sanding because it seems to calm me a little bit when I'm nervous about the weather. But I have so much stuff still to sand and buff. I was going to put up the first thing of these stashes yesterday, but then I realized if I do it like that, I'm definitely not going to ship anything Monday or Tuesday because of the weather. I don't want to leave my packages out on the porch to be picked up in severe weather, you know. So remember, this is not completely done, right? This is just to, let me get back on my, This is just to show you how the final thing looks on a little spot. But yeah, so I decided I'm going to do it probably Wednesday, because I don't know how the weather will be Tuesday. We are still supposed to have some severe weather. And generally speaking, when we have thunderstorms, I don't like to have the big computer on because of lightning. I mean, it's a computer that I wouldn't have money to replace right now. And remember, when you box, you don't press. You kind of barely touch that. And again, as I said, when you box, that's when you're going to see the areas where you did not sand properly. And I'm going to go a little bit into this area so you can see the difference between 1500 sanding, buffing, and the 400. One thing I can tell you that one of the hardest to sand and buff the proper shine is black clay, because it will show the slightest problems. But yeah, this one will pretty much look like porcelain when all is said and done. And another tip I can tell you is when you have a piece with a cabochon with a focal that needs sanded and buffed, do that as much as you can before removing it from the baking blank, because it's the easiest to get a perfect shape when it's still on the baking blank and you have enough support to do the proper sanding job. Okay. I don't catch my headphones again. All right. Now I'm gonna turn off this bright light so we can see a little bit better what's going on here. And let me see if I need to, let me refocus a bit so I can show you all the spots. There we go. All righty, so this is the area that went all the way to 500. And this is when you can see any problems. As I said, after it's buffed, not before. Depends how much of a perfectionist you are. I already noticed that I have a, let me find, where's that spot? See, I have a spot here where this is in the 400 buffed area. You see, that's a huge difference in the buffing, in the shine between the 1500 . But again, this is when you see everywhere where you messed up. Otherwise, it looks Pretty good. I have a spot here. See? Right here. Hold on. And there we go, right here. See it? And then there was a spot here that I need to insist. But generally speaking, you see how you can make your bowl absolutely perfect just sanding, and you see how it looks so much like porcelain, and it gives you the feeling of butterfly wings and flowers and all that. So, but yeah, I'm quite a perfectionist. And then here there's a spot too where I have to reinsist. But I'm probably going to take care of that, as I said, next week. I'm going to finish sanding it and getting it to the off the bowl itself. And as you can see, it looks already shiny inside. You don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, I hope this was useful and it showed you how to use the sanding wand to get stuff to perfection. No, that's why I showed this one. You don't need to because it's already shiny from the glass bowl. You don't need to do anything on the inside. See, there's no more glass ball in this one, and it's all nice and shiny from the glass ball. Okay, so I hope that anybody who's in the Texas, Oklahoma area will be safe tomorrow. Don't forget about 80 Weathers to Go app. And like, what the heck do I have a pepper on my? No, it's just some red. And yes, I'm going to be working on the Cernit Metallic. I have to put them out to leach because they are super soft and sticky. I mean, I was like, how in the world I cannot even shave this? Look at this. Look at this. It definitely needs bleached. And then I finished designing the piece for the Fimo leather. Actually, I designed two different pieces. One's going to be with white, because I have four colors. I found they didn't have the black, so I got these colors. But I can promise you, it's going to be pretty. One of them will be a Native American style with the full turquoise and conchos. So, okay. Thank you so much and have a wonderful what's left of Sunday and a safe week ahead and no danger from storms. And please pray for us who are in the path of danger tomorrow. So I'll see you all next Sunday unless I jump on a live to show you something. Because remember, I'm also working on the dragon's eggs. Yeah, I'm working now. I have regals in the works. This is Viserion. I'm working on regal now. And I'm going to be working on Drogon and then the chest itself by the descriptions in the book. So have a wonderful Sunday. Bye, everybody, and happy claying.